Hi, welcome to my podcast, Talking Travel with Wendy. I travel the globe interviewing really cool people in small hospitality and tourism businesses. Join me each week as I discover and share something or someone new with you. You can find more at www.travelwithwendy.net. And remember, it's always an adventure when you travel with Wendy. Recently, I took a trip to Mentone, Alabama. This little incorporated town sits atop Lookout Mountain, conveniently located less than a 2-hour drive from Huntsville, Birmingham, Atlanta, and Chattanooga. Fall is the best time to visit. While you're there, be sure to grab a bite to eat at Elevation Bistro, the newest restaurant in town. I had the opportunity to sit and chat with chef and owner Kevin Dunlap and talk about his rustic and cozy, local and regionally sourced new venture. Thanks so much for joining us here today on Talking Travel with Wendy. I am here with Kevin Dunlap of the Elevation Bistro in Mentone, Alabama. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for being here with me.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about the new restaurant that's opening up or has opened up. Tell me a little bit about how you got started and how you got here.
25 years, I guess, I've been doing this. I've opened multiple restaurants for many people and wasn't looking to open my own restaurant. And this space just kind of fell in my lap.
Came open.
It just came open. My girls are leaving the nest and thought it's my turn.
Okay.
It's my time.
Okay.
It just all kind of came together very quickly, actually.
Okay, so where were you before here?
I was a chef and general manager at Canyon Grill.
Okay.
Which is one of the finest restaurants in this region, really. They've been there 27 years now, I believe.
Okay.
It's on Lookout Mountain. It's just on the Georgia side.
Okay, it's in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's just across the mountain from us.
Okay, so we'll give a shout out to them.
Mm-hmm.
Canyon Grill.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay. And then did you study?
I did a short stint in culinary school, and it wasn't for me, and I didn't finish the program.
Yeah, okay.
I'd probably been in the business 5 or 6 years before I went to school.
Okay.
It just didn't.
Yeah.
It just wasn't for me.
Yeah, you probably enjoyed working more than
I did,
than
and
being in school.
I worked really the restaurant that ignited my passion and started me on this path was really my first school.
Okay.
And they're still there. I think they're the oldest family-owned and operated restaurant in Colorado. They've been there 60 years.
Where's
maybe.
That?
It's in Boulder, Colorado. It's
okay.
Cafe Gondalier. I mean, like I said, really that's kind of...
So did you start out as a sous chef, or...?
I started out as a potato peeler and a
That's
dishwasher.
awesome. I love that.
I started in the trenches.
Yeah, it's great. I went to a culinary college, too, but I studied hospitality management, but I went to Johnson & Wales.
I toured Johnson & Wales when I was looking at going to school.
Did you? Because they have a Colorado campus, too. But,
well, I toured the Providence location.
Yeah,
and
that's where I went to school.
Great location.
Yeah, it was. It was a little rainy. Yeah, it was tough, though. It was a pretty competitive program.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was in the business side of it, but the culinary students actually cooked for us. So, like, we always knew when we got a new freshman class in because the toast was burnt every single year. We were, like, so excited by the time we get to January. No more burnt toast. They figured it out.
That's fun.
But, you know, by the time we were done, after 4 years, they were competing with the Culinary Institute of America and New Hyde Park.
It's a fun. And I toured both.
Yeah.
I toured because both of my sisters at the time lived in Manhattan, so I toured CIA, and it was, you know, it's a 90-minute train ride from the city where they are.
Sure.
And then I toured the Providence location of Johnson & Wales. But I'd been in Colorado for 5 years, I guess, 5.5 years. I was ready to come back to the South. And the Art Institute in Atlanta has a great program.
Yeah.
It's top notch. Yeah. It wasn't the program that it just wasn't for me. I knew I had a gift, and I just felt like the investment and the time wasn't where I needed to be. It wasn't where my calling was. So,
no, I totally agree. Yeah, college isn't for everybody.
Nope.
No. You started in Colorado and then made your way back to Alabama. You're from Alabama?
I'm from Georgia.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Georgia boy that's now an Alabama lover. I grew up in Ackworth, which is maybe 30 miles north of Atlanta.
Atlanta, yeah, very cool. So did you work in Georgia at all?
I did. When I came back shortly after culinary school, my oldest daughter was born. I have 2 daughters, and so I'd been, up to that point, I'd been in private restaurants.
Okay.
And when we were pregnant with Alexis, I went into the corporate world. I just felt like it was the security that I needed to have in place. I did a long stint in corporate restaurants.
Okay.
Cooking, managing, all of it. And wasn't probably until 2007 that I went back into private restaurant, and that was Sugar's Ribs in Chattanooga.
Okay, all right.
And the owners that started Sugar's Ribs were also the people that started the Canyon Grill.
Okay.
So I opened Sugar's for them. I came on board as it was opening. That's how I met them. Eventually opened 3 restaurants for them, and then came and took over Canyon Grill from them. And so my path kept leading me slowly closer and closer to Mentone and Northeast Alabama, and to where we are now.
Okay. The inspiration for Elevation, where did that come from? Because we're high.
For the name?
Yeah.
So that's a good friend of mine, Barry Carter, who was a regular guest at Canyon Grill, and that's how I got to meet him. The first name that I picked wasn't a fit. Picking the name was maybe the hardest thing that I've done in this venture so far.
Okay.
Because it's the name, it's what you're stuck with it, I guess. I lost sleep for 2 weeks trying to think of a name. No kidding. It was hard for me. So Barry calls me one night, and he knew, what the vision of what I was doing, and knows Mentone a little bit, and so Mentone is the highest incorporated town in the state of Alabama.
Okay.
We're not the highest spot in Alabama, but we are the highest incorporated town.
Okay.
So, and that's what he tells me. So that, the outside of this building kind of looks like a Swiss chalet.
Kind of looks like Colorado.
It kind of does. It's like a ski resort almost out front. The
sure.
big beams and the cedar beams. And so Barry called me and says, you're in the highest elevated town in Alabama. You've already talked about this vision of an elevated food, a menu, ingredients, and service. He's like, you're elevated. Just call it elevated.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, elevated to me, I thought of it for a few days, and elevated just felt like it was done.
Yeah.
Like you've reached.
Because it's past tense.
It's past tense. And so it was just elevation.
Yes.
It's present.
That's right. It's
and
happening
continuous.
Right now.
Yes. So that's the story on the name. So,
that's so
and
cool.
It just clicked. It just fit. So.
Yeah. So tell us about the menu. I'm excited to hear what's going to happen.
It changes every week and sometimes every day.
And you have a big farm to table. It's supporting local farmers, local businesses. That's super cool.
Yeah, I'd say 85% of this menu is local and regional. More of it is right here on Lookout Mountain and in the surrounding valleys of this mountain.
So even closer than like the guidelines for farm to table, which I think is like 50 miles or less.
Most of it is, there's Mildred's Meadows Farms is maybe a mile from here. The farm at Wendy Hill is a mile and a half from here. Black Rose Angus Farm is 4 or 5 miles from here. It's Jones Farm is 6 miles from here.
And they're probably super glad you're opening.
They are, and I'm super glad for them. And that was part of the vision of the menu, is that there's so much food right here in this community and in the surrounding region that there's no reason to outsource.
Sure.
And strangely enough, because I opened, I'd say 6 weeks into the pandemic, which
has just been so amazing that you're doing so well.
And some people were like, you're crazy. This is, you must be out of your mind. And I probably am. But strangely enough, the pandemic boosted the concept of really sourcing locally, because people quit going to grocery stores in the pandemic, and all of the farms and the farmers around here were just covered up anyway. Yeah. And so it really, I think the food movement has transcended and is evolving, and that's really been in the last 10 years and even more 5 years probably. But, you open farm to table, something, or really doing a locally sourced concept 6-7 years ago, you might not have made it. the challenges would have been great. Yeah. So strangely enough, again, like I said, the pandemic has helped that. So. Yeah.
I had a nonprofit about 6 years ago in Huntsville called Deep Roots of Alabama, and it was garden health education for children. We were in 10 different schools. We had about 10,000 students that we served. It was a little bit too ahead of its time. Now, though, I think it would take off, because people are very aware. Unfortunately, Alabama was leading at the time in childhood obesity, so I felt my education in food that we needed to get some healthy food into some food deserts that were around Alabama and stuff. So, but we couldn't get the funding.
Understood.
It was a total bummer.
Understood.
But so I'm totally about let's raise the next farmers up, because that's really going to be valuable in the future. And we need more local farmers.
It's huge. The quality of food and just the synergy in the community itself from networking together. It's incredible. And
Kevin, tell me about the theme of the menu.
So it's a very small and limited, and it will probably stay that way for a long time. Okay. So I try to do, I usually have one salad, 1 or 2 appetizers, and then 3 to 4 entrees. And so I'll do a protein entree, which could be beef, pork, chicken. I just met a local bison farmer.
Okay.
So there's some sort of protein entree, and then some sort of fish or seafood entree, and then a vegetarian or vegan entree.
Awesome.
This weekend it was a vegetarian, it wasn't vegan, so a lot of times I try to, but I've got my sides, and then I'll have a couple of side dishes, and the sides have been pretty much vegetarian and vegan all the way through, so most of the menu is gluten-free naturally, just because I'm using clean ingredients. There's no processed food in the building. I'm not using anything packaged or processed.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Even the sugar for my tea and desserts is organic raw sugar.
So really, healthy choices too.
Yeah, but it's not even it's just because it's better.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm trying to make a statement. It's just better food, and it really because of that. Yeah, because of that, it makes the menu almost, like I said, 90% naturally gluten-free a lot of the times. A lot of vegetarian and vegan, so it covers the board. So, and then 1 or 2 desserts. So it's very simple, and so I try to keep that theme every week, but it'll change as far as, and I'll repeat things here and there if I can get it and people love it, and I might do it a second week just because not everybody can always get here the weekend I do it. So, but it changes pretty much. And all the proteins, if they're not from this mountain, they're from the region.
Okay.
From Carolina, so everything is from the Southeast. I've used a farm from Kentucky, from North Carolina.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So everything is
really, really cool.
This coming weekend might be the last weekend that I'll have local fresh tomatoes, and I'm tearing up a little bit. I'm tearing up a little bit for real. It's tomato season is maybe my favorite.
We stopped at Durbin Farms on the way home from the beach this weekend, and they had the heirloom ones that are like the purpley, weird shape, like somebody created them weird, but they're so good.
Brandywines probably is what those are. One of my favorite varieties.
So good. Yeah, so I know tomatoes are almost done.
So that's the menu, is cooking seasonality too, and it's this is a new venture for me, because the last few months I opened in the beginning of June, and so the summertime, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 farms right here in our community. So that part of creating the menu has been just playing.
Yeah.
Because there's so much. Now I'm coming into a time where there's going to be a shift, and it's not. I don't do the same dishes necessarily every week, but especially with the vegetables and the fruits have been so plentiful. And it's not that they're not going to be. It's just winter. This is a new venture for me. Right. So I'm.
So maybe more squashes and stuff.
Oh, there will be. Yeah, we'll have some root vegetables and some cold. Well, yes, I'm excited about it. So because the restaurants I've always worked in, you order commodity ingredients, which is, I'm not knocking that. That's just the standard really for restaurant and food service. So You know, if I do a dish with yellow squash, I could do that year round because it's just squash.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Versus what's coming out of the ground this week.
But I think that's so cool because you get to be creative when it's in season and try new things and introduce people to maybe some foods that they wouldn't ordinarily try.
And me too, because I'm constantly researching Appalachian recipes, and that's not the total theme of the menu. I mean, I do French, Italian, soul food.
We got Bistro in the name.
So it inspires me and pushes me to be creative too, because I don't always know what I'm going to be working with or how long I'm going to be working with a certain ingredient.
So you said it changes weekly? The menu
changes weekly and sometimes daily, depending on availability of what I can get and how much I can get. So
is it best to make reservations when people come?
It is highly recommended.
Highly recommended. Great. Okay. And by phone, Facebook, reservation service?
Yeah, Open Table.
Okay.
Is the software system I'm using for reservations.
Perfect.
So opentable.com, on any smartphone, the app, or you can call the restaurant direct.
Okay. And large parties because of COVID, what are the restrictions practicing because of COVID?
Well, we're very spaced out. Most of the tables are more than 6 feet apart. I don't have any tables right now that are set up for anything larger than 6 people. So I've got a family, kind of a family style booth. It's a cool bench on one side of the wall and then standing chairs on the other side. I had a family come in this past weekend that was 10. And so 6 on one end and 4 on the other, even though they're a family, but I've got it. So you're still together, but just because you're together, other guests don't necessarily always know that. So it's we're doing our diligence, and it's
keeping people safe and yet enjoyable, having a good experience. So.
Absolutely.
Good. So. What are the hours that you're open?
So currently, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, 4:30 to 7:30 Central, and then Saturday, Sunday is 11:30 to 1:30. And the lunch is very limited. I've not even posted that lunch menu online, but maybe one time. I wasn't even going to do lunch in the beginning. And we opened up one Saturday and did a burger. We've since dubbed it the local burger.
Oh, right. I saw that.
The response was phenomenal. And so now that's pretty much the staple for lunch is the burger, and then I'll do 1 or 2 other things. Lunch is just more casual, just playing and having fun, and not that dinner's not, but dinner is it's more of a set menu, and it is a set menu, and so.
Okay, all right, awesome. And is your Facebook page, website?
No website, Facebook. Elevation Bistro, Instagram.
And that's where people can see the menu?
I post the menu on Instagram and Facebook every Thursday afternoon for the coming weekend. And really, I wait till Thursday because it takes me that long to really get the menu secure because, again, like I said, sourcing from local farms it's not get up Monday morning, place an order, and set for the week. It's
what do you got
sometimes
this week?
Emailing this person and calling this person. And
have you found them to be helpful too, as far as ideas for recipes? Well, I have a ton of green tomatoes, and this was relish or something Grandma made.
Well, and I mean, I think all the farmers that I know now and have relationships with, I mean, they all cook because you.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're just a commercial farm, you eat what you grow. So they all probably are caliber cooks enough to have their own restaurants if they wanted to. So
I saw that you have some merch.
We do. We have T-shirts and hats. Just a couple of colors of shirts and a few different styles of hats. So,
what fun though!
Something fun.
You're here in Mentone, and
And we do. We get a lot of Mentone has a lot of tourism. So, but there's a few locals running around with hats and shirts on.
Good.
So that's cool for sure.
What day is the farmers market here? If I remember, is that Saturday?
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
And is that all year long or just?
It depends on the weather, and I mean they'll go through the winter if the weather permitting. Because it's such a cool little farmers market. There's a variety of from meat farmers to produce farmers, honey makers.
I came up to do the DeSoto Falls hike, the Indian Falls hike, and
one of my favorite trails.
It was awesome. We stopped here because we saw that we did a quick, there's a farmer's market going on. And it was a lot of fun. I got some really great pepper jelly.
Oh, sure.
Yum.
Yeah, and that's the neat thing is that there's an eclectic mix of
Yeah. But they had a soap lady there too.
Sure.
She's making soap.
Sure.
So that's something to check out as well, is the farmer's market. Do you also provide delivery service or pickup for people who might not feel safe yet about going out?
No delivery.
Okay.
We do definitely offer curbside and takeout.
Okay, perfect.
So we've done. Some people don't want to come in the building. We can do curbside, and we're masked up during service. So
Okay.
we've got the patio, which will hopefully it's open. It's just I've not really utilized it yet. It's not covered, so we're working on some little bit of coverage for the patio,
Okay.
and we'll have some outside seating. So, but some people have sat out there already anyway.
Okay.
But we've just been slowly, as we grow, and hopefully keep
it's only
growing,
been a few months.
It's only been a few months,
So
3 months. Yeah,
I'm just so amazed and so impressed.
and thankfully that patio is on the east side of the building too, so it cools off a little more, and it's not direct heat in the afternoon. So, but we're working on beautifying it and having it open.
Well, I'm excited to come on the 19th. I already have a reservation, so
Love it.
I'll be here pretty soon. So thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you all. Thank you.
I hope on your next visit to Lookout Mountain, you pop in and say hello to my new talented friend, Kevin Dunlap, at Elevation Bistro. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast or my YouTube channel, Travel with Wendy, for more travel tips and inspiration. Remember, it's always an adventure when you travel with Wendy.